Hello students, in today's video of history, lesson 1 part 2, we will study about periodization of Indian history, what is colonization, sources of history like official records, surveys and some other sources. So what is periodization? In order to get a clear picture of the important changes in history, the historians prefer to divide history according to different periods. This is known as periodization. It helps them to understand political, social, cultural and economic aspects of a particular period. It also helps them to compare and contrast different societies and cultures. The division of history into ancient, medieval and modern periods has been done by the historians to emphasize on the social, economic, political and cultural changes that took place during each period. There is no definite start or cut-off dates for these periods, but they have a slow fading and evolving pattern of transformation because it stretches over a long span of time. In 1817, James Mill, a Scottish economist and political philosopher, published a massive 3-volume work, A History of British India. In this, he divided Indian history into 3 periods: Hindu, Muslim and British. This periodization came to be widely accepted at that time. Why did Mill divide history into different periods? Mill thought that all Asian societies were at a lower level of civilization than Europe. James Mill felt that before the British came to India, Hindu and Muslim despots ruled the country. Religious intolerance, caste taboos, and superstitious practices dominated the social life in India. Mill felt that British rule could civilize the Indians. He thought it was necessary to introduce European manners, arts and institutions and laws in India. Mill in fact suggested that the British could conquer all the territories in India to ensure the enlightenment and happiness of the Indian people. For India was not capable of progress without the help of the British. But the problem with the periodization of Indian history by James Mill is that he divided the Indian history into Hindu, Muslim and British periods. It has been argued by many historians that it is not correct to periodize the Indian history on the basis of religion of the rulers. For example, when the Hindu kings ruled in ancient India, many religions existed peacefully. Similarly, it was not correct to periodize medieval India as Muslim history since people belonging to different faiths coexisted during that time also. Such periodization, which was based on the religion of the rulers, suggested that the lives, practices and the culture of other people did not matter. Mill also sought to show that before the advent of the British, all the Asiatic societies were at lower levels of civilization. So, his periodization of Indian history into Hindus, Muslims and British was not accepted by the later historians. And the historians later on, or the modern historians later on, divided the history of India into ancient, medieval and modern. And in this class we shall study the history of modern period, that is from 1750 AD to India after independence. Now what is colonization? Colonization means establishing a settlement or colony by a group of people who seek to take control of territories or countries. It is usually a large-scale immigration of people to a new location and the expansion of their civilization and culture into this new area. Immigration means moving from one's own native place to some other new place and settling down there. Now the sources of history. What are sources of history? Clues and evidences on the basis of which we write history are known as sources of history. Historians use different types of sources to learn about the past. They choose the sources depending upon the period of their study and the nature of their investigation. Like if we study about the ancient history of India, so there are very few written records, but still we have found certain archaeological sources which help us to know about the ancient history of India. Those are through the inscriptions, through the coins that we have gathered, and the various monuments built by the rulers of that time. So these are all known as archaeological sources. The 5 major sources of information about modern Indian history are as official records of the British government or administration, newspapers of that time, biographies, books and personal diaries of the important personalities, census and surveys of the government, buildings and monuments of the time. So now what are official records? Official records of the British administration are an important source for the study of modern period. The British laid great emphasis on writing. They got every instruction, plan, policy, treaty, agreement, decision and investigation etc. clearly written up. It became easier to study, ponder and discuss matters in this way. As a result, official letters, memos, notings, reports were written frequently. The British also focused on the preservation of all these written records and documents. So they set up record rooms attached to all the administrative institutions. The village Tehsildar's office, the collectorate, the commissioner's office, the provincial secretariats, the law courts all had their own record rooms. Specialized institutions like archives and museums were also established to preserve important records. Letters and memos that moved from one branch of the administration to another in the early years of the 19th century can still be read in these archives. You can also study the notes and reports that district officials prepared or the instructions and directives that were sent by officials at the top to provincial administrators. So this is the National Archives of India, which came up in the 1920s. Surveys. So what is a survey? It is to examine and record the area and features of an area of land so as to construct a map, plan or description. So surveys were conducted by the British for a better understanding of our country and its effective administration. The British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. So by early 19th century, detailed surveys were carried to map the entire country. Revenue surveys, botanical surveys, zoological surveys, forest surveys, archaeological surveys, etc. were carried out under the British. Revenue surveys were conducted in the villages to know the topography, quality of soil, the flora, the fauna, local histories, cropping patterns, etc. all the facts seen as necessary to administer the region. From the end of the 19th century, census operations were held every 10 years to prepare a detailed account of the total number of people living in all the provinces of India, including their religion, castes, occupations, and economic conditions. So, this census is done even today by the Government of India every 10 years to actually find out the population of a country, the male female ratio, the people in various age groups, etc. James Rennell. This is the picture of James Rennell. He was born on 3rd December 1742 in England, and he died on March 29th, 1830. He was the leading British geographer of his time, and he constructed the first nearly accurate map of India. So if there is a question, who first made the map of India, who was the first person who made the first map of India, then it has to be, the answer will be James Rennell in 1782. Now the other sources. So these other sources include personal diaries, accounts of pilgrims, travelers, autobiographies of important personalities, popular books and booklets, newspapers, stories, poems and novels, journals, reviews, editorials and articles in newspapers and magazines, books or newspapers covering ideas and feelings of political leaders and social reformers. So these were the other sources through which we know about the history of India. Because whatever we get from the official records, that is what the Britishers saw, and these other sources give a clear picture and a better picture of the history of India. The above mentioned literary sources serve as major sources of history. All these sources were produced by those who were literate. From these, we will not be able to understand how history was experienced and lived by the tribals and peasants, the workers in the mines or the poor on the streets. With the invention of printing press, newspapers and booklets were published in large numbers that served as the voice of the common man. So the various sources could be artifacts such as human remains, pottery, weapons, tools, coins, then images, oral histories which passed down from generations or recorded in paintings, dances and ceremonies. Then several writings including inscriptions on stone, writing on walls, paper, clay, wood, etc. Some important terms for you to remember: calligraphist, a person who specializes in the art of beautiful writing. So these calligraphists were the people who used to write all the official records of the British to be stored in the archives and museums. But by the middle of the 19th century, with the spread of printing, multiple copies of these records were printed as proceedings of each government departments. But before that, it was done by the calligraphists. In subjugation, the action of bringing someone or something under domination or control. Survey, to examine and record the area and features of an area of land so as to construct a map, plan or description. Colonialism, the policy or practice of acquiring full or partial political control over another country, occupying it with settlers and exploiting it economically. This is what the Britishers had done in various parts of the world. These terms you will get in the book if you read it carefully. Here are some questions for you to answer in your copy. You'll find the answers in the book. Please read the chapter and answer these questions in neat handwriting in your history copy. And for history and civics, make 2 separate copies and 1 separately for geography. So you'll have 3 copies, 1 for history, 1 for civics and 1 for geography. Read the chapter and answer these questions. Thank you, children.